We are now 56 days stuck in La Paz, Mexico, and it's becoming even more important to keep our minds and bodies active. In this episode, we get out and stretch our legs on a hike high above La Paz and a stroll in a marina.
All right, we are way, I guess this is technically east of the Malecon. It's weird here in La Paz. You feel like you're facing north-south, but you're actually facing east-west in certain spots. But we're here in the City Express there across the street. The place we're hiking to is right there. Lori, it's just like 5 minutes. You go straight up the side of the hill.
If you can climb it, but
Yeah,
technically you have to walk around
No,
it.
I think we can go straight up the front.
Well, I'll meet you there then.
All right, I'll meet you up there. What is this called? Where is this place?
It's called Cerro de la Calavera, Skull's Hill. I guess it looks like a skull. I still don't see it though, but I guess it looks like a skull. But it's supposed to have an amazing view.
Cool, let's do it.
To access the hike, you park in the oval lot and walk across the street to the trailhead. You can actually walk a more direct path to the Cerro de la Calavera, but it is really steep, so we opted to go around the back of the hill. This route takes you along the edge of the mountain with stunning views of the Sea of Cortez and the valleys behind the hill. There were a few local kids out walking and they were really happy to practice their English.
Hola, buenos dias. Good morning.
Even though we are out in the desert, we always find there is more life than some people would expect. We do find that most stuff in the desert is out to prick you or kill you, so you should always watch where you are walking.
You realize, Lori, that we are probably in snake season right now.
Yes, we are.
So keep your eyes and ears open for snakes.
We haven't been hiking for a while, so every now and then we needed to stop and take a look around. Coming up over the top of the hill provides you with a stunning view of La Paz and the bay out in the Sea of Cortez.
The view is stunning. Holy smokes. Look at that.
Yeah, we made it.
Very cool. You can see the car down there. There's a little dot. This is the first marina on the east side of the Malecon. So La Paz, it feels like that's north, but it's not. North is that way across the Sea of Cortez. So technically we're on the east end of the Malecon that's there. This is the first marina on the east end. There's more up this way. That is the Malecon right there. In that area, you can see the condos there on the far end where the marina is. That's the end of the Malecon on that side.
And that's where we are, a few blocks back.
Yeah, we're a few blocks back from that. This here that looks like an island is actually a peninsula. You can drive all around the backside of the bay, come across a small spit there, and then come out to this resort that is out on that. It's not an inlet, it's a peninsula. And there's actually a boat that they can take from there and come across to the Malecon. They have like a taxi. And then Balandra and stuff is out this way. Pretty nice hike. How long did that take us, do you remember?
I don't know what time we got here.
I don't know either. It wasn't that bad, maybe 30 minutes, I think, maybe 45. Where we're gonna try to go now is actually we need to go back down because we want to go there. That's where we want to go, right where that little white rock is. So how we get back down there, I don't know.
That's the question.
That is the question. Vencerlo. ¿Qué es vencerlo, Lorena?
Vencerlo?
Sí.
Cerro.
Vencerlo. Cerro.
Vencerlo. Give me a minute. Vencerlo is when you win over something or achieve something.
Ah, the top, like the pinnacle or the
Well,
peak.
but it's the action.
Oh, it's the
You're
action.
Overcoming.
Overcoming?
That's
Okay.
the word. Overcoming.
Cool.
After a short break at the top, Lorena and I started down the trail to find what we originally set out for, the Cerro de la Calavera. This was a more direct route to Skull Hill, but required steady feet. Much of the trail required stepping down on loose rocks and gravel and required us to be really careful where we were stepping.
I will say this part of the hike is not for the faint of heart. This is not, I
I wouldn't even call it a moderate hike, because even though it's really, really short, it's only, say, a mile from the car up and then down here. But then this part that we're doing, again, it never shows up on camera of how steep it is, but you can see Lori leaning back a little bit. Let me get over on this side here, and you can see how far Lori's leaning back. So this is kind of more like a scramble, because this rock here is solid, so we don't have to worry about slippage as much. But it's still, every now and then it's got this kind of stuff, and so you got to be careful. So what we're doing is just doing diagonal crosses back and forth across this face. That's the trail over there, yeah.
This is definitely not a hike for anyone with weak ankles or anyone who has a problem with balance. Lorena's short little legs weren't the best for the trail either. I'm pretty sure-footed, but even I was having trouble not sliding down the hill on my ass. We did manage to make it all the way down without any casualties and finally arrived at the caves.
And then we arrived at the caves. Wow, this is really cool. Check that out.
Wow. This is awesome.
This is really cool.
Oh.
And it is much cooler.
Yes, because of the shade. Finally, we
Check out the window.
Now, I hadn't flown the drone in quite a while, but I knew this would be a great place to send it. I was a little rusty, and although it was a beautiful spot for a flight, it wasn't as smooth as I would have liked. I should have known, but didn't realize how the wind was howling off the cliffs until the drone started acting a little funny. And then eventually, when Lorena and I stuck our heads around the corner, we noticed it was pretty windy around the side.
Hey Lorena,
Yes.
Did you see they have Mayan petroglyphs up here?
I did see that.
Yeah, check this out. Look at right there. Mayan. Like that's probably, I don't know, thousands and thousands of years old. And then up here, obviously, signifies that there was an alien spacecraft here at some point, or they were doing mushrooms. One of the two. This is pretty wild.
Two things here. Look at the cactus. Like, I think
Oh
it's
yeah,
cool.
cactus growing right out of the rock.
And somebody took the time to actually put this here.
Someone did some really good drawings there. And that,
Yeah. So there's actual petroglyphs.
there was actual petroglyphs. Obviously modern day, but very well done. Very, very cool. And then, of course, another window here. So let's go out the window. Awesome. And then Lori has a nice little chair up there.
Look at the view.
We sat up here for an hour or so enjoying the view, but we had been staring down at the marina and wondering if we were able to get in there and walk around. So we headed back down the hill to check it out. We used a more direct route that took us straight down the hill, and because neither of us twisted an ankle or broke a foot, we celebrated once we arrived back at the bottom. Yes, there is something wrong with us. The Marina Palmira is directly across the street from where we were, so we drove up to the gate and asked if we were allowed to go in. The security guard told us that unless we had booked a tour, we couldn't go in. Well, not to be deterred, we went to a different security gate and said we wanted to check out the restaurant. He told us it wasn't a problem, and just like that, we were exploring this beautiful marina. They had a cool looking pirate themed bar restaurant right on the water, so we locked that in for our return to the car. The marina had a clubhouse with a pool area, showers, and a captain's lounge. The marina had everything from smaller pleasure craft and fishing boats to full-on fishing and pleasure yachts. This mural of a whale was in an area with huge yachts that had toy garages on them to store their kayaks, jet skis, and tenders. We love the atmosphere around a marina, and it's always nice watching the different boats coming and going.
Marina Palmira.
After our walk around the marina, we headed back to the captain's bar and restaurant for a couple of drinks and some fries. As I mentioned before, it had a light pirate theme with a few pirates set up around the place. They had portholes along one wall that looked like you were underwater if you caught the light just right. And of course, the token fish on another wall, just to let you know you were in a restaurant at a marina. There was a light breeze that afternoon, so we relaxed on the patio and talked about whether a boat was in our future. It's not out of the question, folks. On the way back to the car, we walked through the pool area of the hotel, which was really nice, but was totally empty with not a person in sight. The hotel was very simple but nice, and although the room prices obviously vary, at this time of this video in May 2025, the room prices were around $150 US a night. We hope you enjoyed coming along on the hike with us and walking around the Palmira Marina. It would be great if you kept up with all of our stories by subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you in the next episode.